Last week we were reading that glorious Godhead told Savitri, this choice that you want to make, you can't make it here in the manifestation. We will have to go beyond all these symbol worlds to the transcendent plane. So go there and see everything as it truly is from the highest level, and then make your choice. So he's removed from her all the appearances of the manifestation, and even he himself has become invisible. Invisible, that perfect Godhead now. And there's no form of things, no objects, no people, no landscapes. It's as if it's a vast formlessness. So I'm going to read on from line 894. Around her some tremendous spirit lived, mysterious flame around a melting pearl. And in the phantom of abolished space, there was a voice unheard by ears that cried, "Choose, Spirit, thy supreme choice, not given again. For now, from my highest being looks at thee, the nameless, formless peace, where all things rest. In a happy, vast, sublime cessation, no, an immense extinction in eternity, a point that disappears in the infinite. Felicity of the extinguished flame, last sinking of a wave in a boundless sea. End of the trouble of thy wandering thoughts. Close of the journeying of thy pilgrim soul. Accept, O music, weariness of thy notes. O stream, wide breaking of thy channel banks. The moments fell into eternity, but someone yearned within a bosom unknown, and silently the woman's heart replied, "Thy peace, O Lord, a boon within to keep, amid the roar and ruin of wild time, for the magnificent soul of man on earth. Thy calm, O Lord, that bears thy hands of joy." Limitless, like ocean round a lonely isle, a second time the eternal cry arose. Wide open are the ineffable gates in front. My spirit leans down to break the knot of earth amorous of oneness without thought or sign, to cast down wall and fence, to strip heaven bare. See with the large eye of infinity, unweave the stars, and into silence pass. In an immense and world-destroying pause, she heard 1,000,000 creatures cry to her. Through the tremendous stillness of her thoughts, immeasurably the woman's nature spoke. Thy oneness, Lord, in many approaching hearts, my sweet infinity of thy numberless souls. Mightily retreating like a sea in ebb, a third time swelled the great admonishing call. I spread abroad the refuge of my wings. Out of its incommunicable deeps, my power looks forth of mightiest splendor, stilled into its majesty of sleep, withdrawn above the dreadful whirlings of the world. A sob of things was answer to the voice, and passionately the woman's heart replied, Thy energy, Lord, to seize on woman and man, to take all things and creatures in their grief and gather them into a mother's arms. Solemn and distant, like a seraph's lyre, a last great time the warning sound was heard. I open the wide eye of solitude to uncover the voiceless rapture of my bliss, where in a pure and exquisite hush it lies, motionless in its slumber of ecstasy, resting from the sweet madness of the dance, out of whose beat the throb of hearts was born. Breaking the silence with appeal and cry, a hymn of adoration tireless climbed, a music beat of winged uniting souls. Then all the woman yearningly replied, Thy embrace, which rends the living knot of pain. Thy joy, O Lord, in which all creatures breathe, thy magic flowing waters of deep love, thy sweetness give to me for earth and men. We'll start on this side, Suresh.
Around some tremendous speed lived mysterious flame around the melting earth, and in the bottom of abolished space there was a voice unheard by ears that cried, choose straight thy supreme choice not given again. For now, from my highest being looks at thee, the nameless, formless peace where all things rest.
Thank you. So Savitri is in this state beyond all form. And she can no longer see that Godhead. Instead, she feels that all around her there is living some tremendous spirit, a very, very powerful spirit and being. And it seems to express itself in the form of a mysterious flame. And in the very center of that flame is something like a pearl, which is melting, losing its form. She's surrounded by the phantom of abolished space. A phantom is like a ghost, a remnant of something that doesn't exist. So space and form and time, they've all been abolished. They don't exist anymore in that state that she is in. But in that phantom of abolished space, there was a voice. This voice is not heard. It's not heard by her ears or any ears, no. But this voice cries, and Savitri hears it in her heart or feels it. And this spirit is addressing her, Savitri, as spirit. It says, choose, spirit. Now you can choose. You can make your supreme choice, the highest choice of your highest being. You won't be given this opportunity again. Just this once you can make your choice. Because I, the Spirit says, from my highest being, I'm looking down at you in my state of peace, the nameless, formless peace in which everything rests, is at rest. So now he's going to give her the choice. He will give her 4 chances to make her choice. Tone.
in a happy, vast, sublime cessation, no, an immense extinction in eternity, a point that disappears in the infinite, felicity of the extinguished flame, last sinking of a wave in the boundless sea, end of the trouble of thy wandering thoughts, close of the journeys of thy pilgrim soul. Accept, O music, weariness of thy notes, O stream, light breaking of thy channel banks.
Yes. So what is he offering her? He's offering her a vast, sublime cessation. He's inviting her to melt her individuality. Cessation means ceasing. You can cease to be Savitri, and you will experience, if you cease to be, it'll be an extinction, a huge extinction in eternity. It'll be like a single point that just disappears in the infinite. But you will experience the felicity, the bliss of the extinguished flame. That the flame which is burning full of energy, it feels a certain bliss when the flame is put out and it doesn't exist anymore. Or he says, it's like the last sinking of a wave in a boundless sea. A wave has a certain identity, but when it sinks back into the ocean, the boundless ocean, it ceases to exist separately. He says, if you choose that cessation, that extinction, that will be the end of all the trouble, the worry and anxiety of your wandering thoughts. And it'll be the close of the journey of your soul. Your soul has been traveling for so long, like a pilgrim. It will have reached its goal. It has no further to go. So he says, you are like music. O music, accept weariness of thy notes. Feel how tiresome it is to go on being that piece of music that you are. Accept weariness. You don't have to go on any longer. You can be like a stream which is no longer confined by its banks, the banks of the river, a stream of water down the middle. Accept the breaking of your banks, so you will just spread out into infinity, and there won't be any stream anymore. There won't be any individual Savitri. Is it clear? Would anybody like to ask anything about this?
This means void breaking of the channel banking is birth and death.
The stream is has two banks. You could think maybe it's birth and death, but it could be also the individual form, not only the physical form, but the personal formality, even the soul person through which the energy flows. The stream is the energy, no? So there would be no more limitations. Can just spread freely. But then there'll also be no more identity. Mila.
The moments fell into eternity, but someone yearned without bosom unknown, and silently the woman's heart replied, "Thy peace, O Lord, a wound within to keep amid the roar and ruin of wild time, for the magnificent soul of man on earth. Thy calm, O Lord, that bears thy hands of joy."
Thank you. So there seems to be something like time. The moments pass, they fall into eternity. But Savitri feels somebody yearning. Somebody somewhere wants something. She feels that yearning. It's in an unknown bosom. She doesn't know who that person is or where they are, but she can feel that there's something that wants to go on existing. So silently, she just replies with her heart. She says, "Yes, Lord, you're offering me your peace. I want to have your peace. I want to keep that peace within me always, whatever happens in time, amid the roar and ruin of wild time. And I want to have it not for myself. I want to have that peace for the magnificent soul of man on earth. For the magnificent soul of man on earth, I want to have your calm, O Lord, because that calm can bear the touch of your joy, that can bear thy hands of joy. Otherwise, unless we are absolutely steady and calm, the touch of the hands of the Lord will be almost unbearable, so intense. She wants the soul of humanity to have that peace and that calm that will be able to experience the delight of the touch of the divine. Gomsun.
Limitless, like ocean round your longest
Isle, the S is silent. Isle.
A lonely isle. A second time, the eternal cry arose. Wide open are the ineffable gates in front. My spirit leans down to break the mortal earth. Amorous of oneness, without through all sign, to cast down law and pence, to strip heaven bare. See with the large eye of infinity, unveil the stars and into silence pass.
Yes. So this wonderful cry, which can't be heard by ears, but it's something like the sound of an ocean around a little lonely island. No? That eternal cry, that voice is heard again, it arose again. And it's telling her that the ineffable gates are wide open in front of you. There's something like a threshold, and you can pass over that threshold into another state. Those gates, we can't describe those gates, but still there's an opening, a threshold. You can pass through into another state. My spirit is leaning down towards you, and it's willing, it wants to break the knot of earth, the knot of matter. It will dissolve this material form which keeps you separate from other beings. Because it feels such love for the oneness. Amorous means in love, actually. It says, my spirit is amorous of a oneness which doesn't have any thought in it, no sign. It wants to break down all limitations, to cast down wall and fence. It wants to strip heaven bare, take away all the coverings and robes. Only the pure state of consciousness. It wants to see with the large eye of infinity, a limitless eye. It wants to unweave the stars and into silence pass. That's what he's inviting Savitri to do. Leave behind all this appearance of the universe. It need not exist anymore for you. You can pass into this state of oneness in which there's no division, no limit, no separation at all.
So everywhere it is given as cry like that. Any significance with that word between...
It means it's a very poignant sort of voice. It's maybe even powerful, but it's not a voice that we hear with our ears, no? Yes, please.
In an immense and world-destroying force, she heard a million prayers cry to her. Through the tremendous stillness of her thoughts, enshrouded the woman's nature spoke. Like oneness, Lord, in many approaching beat, my sweet infinity of thy numberless souls.
Yes. So after she hears the voice, she hears a kind of pause, a silence, in which it seems as if that silence will destroy all world, all manifestation, all expression, all form. No? But in that pause, Savitri hears all the individual creatures calling out to her. She heard 1 million creatures cry to her. It's a kind of an appeal. She's not thinking. Her thoughts are completely silent. Through the tremendous silence of her thoughts, her nature, her human woman's nature spoke, but immeasurably, limitlessly. She says, yes, Lord, give me your oneness, but I want it in these many hearts, in these many, many numberless souls. So this is the same pattern each time. The first time he offers her peace, the peace of cessation and extinction. And she says, yes, Lord, give me your peace, but I want it within me and within the hearts of all human beings, to protect human beings in all the turbulent roar and ruin of wild time. The magnificent soul of man on earth should have your peace to support and protect him. And the second time it's the oneness, and then she says, yes, I want oneness, but I want your oneness in many approaching hearts. My sweet infinity. It's not a characterless infinity. It's an infinity of love and sympathy and relationship, a relationship of oneness between all the numberless souls. Sergei.
Vitally retreating, like a secret pen, the third time swelled, the great admonition for it. I spread and rolled the refuge for my wings. Out of its incommunicable deeps, my power looks forth of mightiest splendor, still into its majesty of sleep, withdraw above the dreadful violence of the world.
Yes. So now when the voice comes, it's like a sea in ebb. That means a sea that is going away. The sea ebbs. It goes to some distance, especially if the shore is flat. The sea may ebb very, very far, and then it will come back again. Ebb and flow. So this sounds like a sea that's moving further away. And Aurobindo says the call is admonishing. It's as if it is warning. He's saying, you don't have many chances left. Make the right choice. So he says, I'm spreading abroad my wings. They're a refuge for you. They will envelop you and protect you. My power is looking out of its great deeps, its depths, its profundities, which can't be communicated. And my power of mightiest splendor, most powerful glory, is stilled. It's been silenced into its majesty of sleep. The power is sleeping majestically. It's been withdrawn above all the dreadful whirlings of the world. If he withdraws his power, the world will cease to exist. Kamla.
A soul of peace was answered to the voice, and passionately the woman's heart replied, the energy, Lord, to seize and open and learn, to talk all things and creatures in their peace, and gather them into a modest one.
So he was telling her, I'm ready to withdraw my power, and there won't be any more world. No? But there's something in the universe that feels sorrow, a sob of things, was answer to the voice. And the response that comes from Savitri's heart is to say, give me your power, your energy, Lord. I want to seize on every woman and every man. I want to take all creatures in their grief. I want to gather them into a mother's arms. Give me your power for that purpose. Joel.
Solemn and distant, like a seraph's lyre, a last great time the warning sound was heard. I opened the wide eye of solitude to uncover the voiceless rapture of my bliss, where in a pure and exquisite hush it lies, motionless in its slumber of ecstasy, resting from the sweet madness of the dance, out of whose beat the throb of hearts was born.
So this is the last time, and this time it's really a warning. The last great time the warning sound was heard. And he says, I'm opening this wide eye of solitude, of aloneness. And when I open that eye, I uncover the voiceless rapture of my bliss, the bliss of the Supreme. And that silent, voiceless ecstasy is lying in silence, in a pure and exquisite hush, an extremely beautiful hush, a silence. It's not moving. It's in a slumber of ecstasy, like a trance. It's resting from the sweet madness of the dance. We can think of Shiva's dance that brings the world into existence. No? Out of that dance of my bliss, the throb of hearts has been born. The fact that all creatures live and their hearts beat. It's only because of that rapture of the Lord's bliss. But He's offering to silence it. Ganga Lakshmi.
Breaking the silence with appeal and cry, the hymn of adoration, tireless climb, the music beat of wing uniting soul, then all the women yearningly replied. They embrace which rends the living knot of pain. Thy joy, O Lord, in which all creatures breathe, thy magic flowing water of the deep love, thy sweetness give to me for heart, earth, and man.
Yes. So after he makes this offer, there's a silence. But there's a sound which breaks that silence with appeal and cry. Something is asking. But it expresses itself as a hymn of adoration, a sacred song of worship, which is like the souls rising up like birds and all singing together, no? A music beat of winged uniting souls. And then all of Savitri, her whole nature, her soul, her spirit, everything replies with that yearning, with that longing. She says, your embrace which tears apart the living knot of pain. It opens it up so the pain doesn't exist anymore. Your joy, O Lord, in which all creatures breathe. Your magic flowing waters of deep love. Your sweetness, give to me for earth and men. That is the bliss, the different forms that it takes. So what's going to happen now?
So she doesn't choose. She's not choosing.
Yes, she's choosing. She's saying, whatever you're offering me, peace and oneness and power and bliss, I want all those things. Give them all to me, but not for me, for earth and men. So let's see.
In a sense, all these songs are the moksha, the nirvana state.
Yes, this is all the bliss of extinction in one way or another. No? She says, no, I'm not asking for extinction, I'm not accepting extinction, but I want all the boons that extinction brings. I want it for this magnificent soul of man on earth. Janaka, would you read? No? No.
Too much of a romantic voice.
Vani will read.
Then after silence, a still blissful cry, beings such as arose from the infinity, when the first whispering of the strange divine imagine its deep and joy to see. The passion to discover and to touch. The nameless law which began the
which rhymed.
Law which began chanting word.
Yes. No, stop. Now we've stopped there. We'll pause there. So first there's a silence. But after the silence, there's again a cry, a voice. And that voice begins after the silence. And Sri Aurobindo says this cry is like the voice which arose from the infinite in the very beginning of the manifestation, when there's the first whisperings of some strange delight, is imagining deep within itself the joy of seeking, of search, the intense feeling of discovering, of touching things that are other than oneself. And it sounds like the enamored laugh, the laugh full of love, which has rhymed the chanting words. It's the idea, I think, that the universe has come into existence because of a song. Sometimes this is expressed as the sound Om. That's our way of expressing that original sound which went out in vibrations and vibrations, and because of those vibrations, this material universe has come into existence. But there's also a beautiful poem of Sri Aurobindo where he says, perhaps the heart of God forever sings, and worlds come floating out with every note. So it's something like that, that in the beginning there must have been this enamored laugh, and because of the vibrations of that laugh, all these many, many worlds have come into existence. And each of them is chanting, it's singing, its own note. So what is he going to say? Bhavana, you read.
O beautiful body of the incarnate world, thy thoughts are mine. I have spoken with thy voice. My will is thine. What thou hast chosen, I choose. Although hast asked, I give to earth and man. All shall be written out in destiny's book by my trustee of thought and plan and act, the executor of my will, eternal time.
So that voice, that still, blissful cry says to Savitri, you are the beautiful body of the Word, the original creative Word, in a body, incarnate in a human body. And it agrees with her. It says, what you are thinking, those thoughts are my thoughts also. And what you have chosen, I'm choosing that. I accept your choice. I give to earth and men everything you have asked for. And everything that you've asked for will be written out in the book of destiny. It'll be written out by my trustee. A trustee is somebody who carries out somebody else's will. My trustee of thought and plan and act. The executor of my will, the person who makes sure that my will gets fully implemented. He says that power is time, eternal time. Everything you've asked for will be worked out. It will be implemented by eternal time. Super.
But since thou hast refused my endless calm, and turned from my termless peace, and which is external, the mistake of speed and the shame of time is lost, and from happy expansion of thy separate self, in my uncompanion love eternal. For not for thee the nameless, wordless night, inhabitation of thy living soul, and the end of thought and hope and life and love, in the blank, measureless and knowless, I lay my hand upon thy solar flame. I lay my hand upon thy heart of love. I owe thee to my power of work in time.
So first of all, he says, what you've asked for, it's going to happen. But what about you, Savitri? What is going to happen to you? Now he's going to tell her over the next pages. He says, you've refused my nameless calm, my complete, unstirring, unwounded calm and peace. You've turned away from my termless peace, my endless peace, in which is expunged, wiped out the face of space, and the shape of time is lost. I was inviting you to go beyond time and space, but you've refused that. You've refused the happy extinction of your separate self in my uncompanioned, lone eternity, in the oneness. Because you don't want the nameless, wordless nothingness. You don't want the annihilation, the destruction of your living soul. You don't want the end of thought and hope and life and love in the blank, measureless, unknowable. You've refused all that. So I'm going to put my hands on your soul that is like a flame, so passionate and pure. I'm laying my hands. I'm taking possession of your heart of love, and I'm going to yoke you to my power of work in time. You won't be able to escape that anymore. A yoke, is what we put around the neck of the bullock when he pulls the plow. So I'm yoking you. You will be connected to all my work in time. Martin.
Because thou hast obeyed my timeless will, because thou hast chosen to share earth's struggle and fate, and lean in pity over earth-bound men, and turn aside to help and yearn to save. I bind by thy heart's passion, thy heart to mine, and lay my splendid yoke upon thy soul.
Yes. So he's told her, in spite of all the challenges and discouragements and tests, because you have obeyed my timeless will, my will for manifestation and fulfillment, and because you've chosen to share the fate of the earth, the struggle and fate of earth, because you've leaned down in pity and compassion over these human beings who are bound to the earth, and you've turned aside from that bliss and peace and everything because you want to help, because you want to save. I'm binding you to me by the passion of your heart, which is so full of love, and I'm putting my yoke on your soul. You will have to carry my yoke. This word yoke actually is the same word as yoga. It has the same meaning. So I will lay my splendid yoke. It joins two things, a yoke. So it means union. The root of the word is the same. And in the Bible we have a beautiful saying of Christ. He says, my yoke is easy. It's not a heavy, painful yoke. It's one that is easy for you to bear. My yoga. So we'll stop there for today. Over the next several pages, Aurobindo will, or the voice will tell Savitri what this tapasya which she has undergone, what this will mean for her personally. And then starting from the middle of page 702, he'll tell her what it will mean for the earth. And that goes on for about another 10 pages.
Around her some tremendous spirit lived, mysterious flame around a melting pearl. And in the phantom of abolished space, there was a voice unheard by ears that cried, "Choose, Spirit, thy supreme choice not given again. For now from my highest being looks at thee, the nameless, formless peace, where all things rest. In a happy, vast, sublime cessation, no, an immense extinction in eternity, a point that disappears in the infinite. Felicity of the extinguished flame, last sinking of a wave in a boundless sea, end of the trouble of thy wandering thoughts, close of the journeying of thy pilgrim soul. Accept, O music, weariness of thy notes, O stream, wide breaking of thy channel banks. The moments fell into eternity, but someone yearned within a bosom unknown, and silently the woman's heart replied, "Thy peace, O Lord, a boon within to keep, amid the roar and ruin of wild time, for the magnificent soul of man on earth. Thy calm, O Lord, that bears thy hands of joy." Limitless, like ocean round a lonely isle, a second time the eternal cry arose. Wide open are the ineffable gates in front. My spirit leans down to break the knot of earth, amorous of oneness without thought or sign, to cast down wall and fence, to strip heaven bare. See with the large eye of infinity, unweave the stars, and into silence pass. In an immense and world-destroying pause, she heard 1,000,000 creatures cry to her. Through the tremendous stillness of her thoughts, immeasurably the woman's nature spoke. Thy oneness, Lord, in many approaching hearts, my sweet infinity of thy numberless souls. Mightily retreating, like a sea in ebb, a third time swelled the great admonishing call. I spread abroad the refuge of my wings. Out of its incommunicable deeps, my power looks forth of mightier splendor, stilled into its majesty of sleep, withdrawn above the dreadful whirlings of the world. A sob of things was answer to the voice, and passionately the woman's heart replied, Thy energy, Lord, to seize on woman and man, to take all things and creatures in their grief, and gather them into a mother's arms. Solemn and distant, like a seraph's lyre, a last great time the warning sound was heard. I open the wide eye of solitude to uncover the voiceless rapture of my bliss, where in a pure and exquisite hush it lies, motionless in its slumber of ecstasy, resting from the sweet madness of the dance, out of whose beat the throb of hearts was born. Breaking the silence with appeal and cry, a hymn of adoration tireless climbed, a music beat of winged uniting souls. Then all the woman yearningly replied, Thy embrace, which rends the living knot of pain, Thy joy, O Lord, in which all creatures breathe, Thy magic flowing waters of deep love, thy sweetness give to me for earth and men. Then, after silence, a still, blissful cry began, such as arose from the infinite, when the first whisperings of a strange delight, imagined in its deep, the joy to seek, the passion to discover and to touch, the enamored laugh which rhymed the chanting words. O beautiful body of the incarnate Word, thy thoughts are mine. I have spoken with thy voice. My will is thine. What thou hast chosen, I choose. All thou hast asked, I give to earth and men. All shall be written out in destiny's book by my trustee of thought and plan and act, the executor of my will, eternal time. But since thou hast refused my nameless calm, and turned from my termless peace, in which is expunged the visage of space, and the shape of time is lost, and from happy extinction of thy separate self, in my uncompanioned, lone eternity. For not for thee the nameless, worldless naught, annihilation of thy living soul, and the end of thought and hope and life and love in the blank, measureless, unknowable. I lay my hands upon thy soul of flame. I lay my hands upon thy heart of love. I yoke thee to my power of work in time. Because thou hast obeyed my timeless will, because thou hast chosen to share earth's struggle and fate, and leaned in pity over earth-bound men, and turned aside to help, and yearned to save. I bind by thy heart's passion, thy heart to mine, and lay my splendid yoke upon thy soul.